Yeah, I mean, it takes the grace of God to be here this morning, and I'm doing pretty well, just as each and every one of you following this radio. And give God the thanks, the praises that we have been given another opportunity to be alive, and so we are grateful. We must acknowledge that in all of our endeavors as we strive to move Liberia forward.
Yes, yesterday evening I asked how you were doing. You said you were very cool. I don't know what you meant.
Yeah, social media pundits, they are one of the creative set of individuals currently. And so the guys developed another word, which of course I won't let to mention on this show, but it was very interesting anyway. But on yesterday, while another waste of opportunities. I feel the pain, I feel the frustration of each and every Liberian. Just as the same way you feel, you continue to feel, right? And that's just how I am. And so you can tell from my voice, you can tell that I'm not happy. How I wished yesterday all of the energies we put in place, the momentum built, how Liberians came out, the support was so numerous to the extent that many Liberians felt, and even our opponents felt that we have already won the game. Not until the full 90 minutes, the result proved contrary to what many Liberians thought would have happened. And such a situation at such a time is very demeaning. I mean, it left a lot of Liberians in frustration. They can just wait to express their frustration on the social media, off the social media. You have a conversation with every Liberian. Those of you borrowing private vehicles, commercial vehicles this morning. The only conversation there, I think, this discussion has covered the politics for the day. I mean, every street corner you enter now, the fate of the Lone Star, the qualifier is the center of discussion this morning. It tells to what extent Liberians, after 21 years of waiting, felt that this could be another opportunity they could lay their hands on. But yet again, it went. I mean, it was just the way we didn't expect it.
Okay, so we'll talk a bit about that this morning and other issues. We will give you an update on. You remember the 100 million case? That case is still on an investigation by the court. Yes, the court is still looking into that case. Foreign nationals have been involved, looking at the 100 million drug that was discovered in Liberia, what of drug that was discovered in Liberia. The very first time they commenced the trial couldn't go on because the foreign nationals who are involved said they couldn't just understand the English, so they needed somebody who would interpret the entire trial. So witnesses, let's say interpreters, were provided, and then the case started. Yes, some part of last month. And on Monday, the case resumed with other issues. So we will definitely give you an update on the 100 million worth of drug that was discovered in Liberia. The issue of the U.S. ambassador, President Joe Biden has nominated another ambassador to replace Mark McCarthy. We will tell you more about that, who is the new president. We're going to profile him this morning as well on the show, and that will run up to later on where you have your say on some of the conversations as well that we'll talk about. At 9 o'clock, we designed a special statement where you will talk to the president. January, February, March of 2023, there are other, the president gave Liberians hope during his State of the Nation address in other areas that he would have targeted. We've gone 3 months. He said that he has forgotten some of those areas that he talked about, the issue of the civil servant, the budget as well. and the rest of it. So indeed, this morning we are for Liberians the opportunity. The president is back in country. He returned on yesterday. He was also on the field. He had gone there to see Liberia qualify to the Ivory Coast, 2024. That's the Africa Cup of Nations. But again, it did not work the way many Liberians expected. So we will give you the opportunity this morning. That is just at 9 o'clock to hit some of the issues, some of the areas you think the president has forgotten, about when he spoke this gone time, lengthily, pretty close to 3 hours, during his last State of the Nation address. In his first, says yes, indeed, we're going to look at that this morning. Is it through health? Or what are the issues you think the president has forgotten about, and you want him to, focus in those areas? The president will listen to you this morning in the show. So I think that's it. Let me just.
Yeah, exactly, Paco. As you outlined, the menu for the discussion this morning is suits in. And so at 9 o'clock, we take the president's segment where you speak to the president. Lots of issues, lots of promises President George Weah has made in recent time, especially with during his that's the sixth State of the Nation's address. He mentioned lots of things his administration will undertake in a short period until elections and after elections. We have gone 3 months since that commitment. We want to look at that this morning as well, where we afford you Liberians the time you remind your leader as to some of the promises he made to you and where we as we stand. These conversations are very necessary. It helps those in authority. It helps them. It reminds them about what they need to do that they are not doing. And so it's important we're going to do that. And so like you listened, the U.S. government has nominated a new ambassador to Liberia who is subject to confirmation by the U.S. Parliament, if you may say. And so we look forward to that. If he's confirmed, he'll be replacing Michael McCarthy, who served just very close to, is that 1 year or 2 years? 1 year.
Yeah, he came in
January
2021.
And so if he be replaced, then he holds a record for the shortest serving ambassador in the history of America to Liberia, right? And so McCarthy will be replaced if the new ambassador is confirmed. But we're going to outline some of it, some of the progress under his administration, some of the things he stood against. Remember, he has been one of those officials of the U.S. government that stood firmly against corruption. Over numerous occasions, he reminded Liberia of the effects of corruption, to what extent corruption is damaging the democracy, the state of Liberia in totality. So he will be missed, obviously, if he's replaced. Parker, he will be missed in the history of Liberia for being one of those many officials from the U.S. government that continue to speak highly against corruption in Liberia and continue to remind Liberia and Liberians about the effects of corruption on the country and the democracy, and how it's taken away from the Liberians' people mouth. And these things are necessary. You see, one of the ways in which we can build a country is we call spade in spade and say truth for power. Yeah, that is the responsibility of every patriotic Liberian. That regardless you hold support, that regardless you see this individual to be that person, you see this individual to be the only alternative, which of course everyone believes differently, but it is equally important that when said individual of who you have so much confidence in, and when that person is not delivering up to your expectation, it is important that you point finger and say, this is what we are doing, and I think these are things we can do together collectively, so that we will be able to correct the wrongs. But like we said, we're going to have conversations surrounding that. We're going to outline, on a profile, the new ambassador nominated to Liberia by the U.S. government, who is subject to confirmation. But on yesterday, like we said, this is the center of a discussion across Liberia. That on yesterday we had an opportunity. This is the third of its kind in the history of Liberia. You see, at times when we say these things, we must be very honest that there are a lot of opportunities continue to come our way that we give no attention to. At times we see it, at times we tend to go for it, but we don't have a fixed mind, we don't have a winning spirit, we don't have the confidence in ourselves to pursue them. So what happened at the end is that it will land on an infertile soil. The situation of the Lone Star on 3 separate occasions. You want to look at the historic state of the Lone Star since its foundation in 1936 up to present. It hasn't put out the best that we all expect. And Liberians feel that as time progresses, we will adapt to the current standard, of living of the world, and we try to shift our approach towards progress for the Lone Star. But those beliefs continue to land on an infertile soil, not until the recent happening on yesterday. And making it 3 different times we had similar opportunity that we continue to miss on. Like I always said on the program, is that experience is the best teacher. But sometimes I wonder whether in Liberia we use experience, to make decisions. We use experience in our day-to-day activities. Because the thing is, it happened in 2002. It repeated itself in 2021, and again on yesterday, it repeated itself. Same happening, same opportunity that we continue to miss on. And all of these things happen right on our home soil, right in our country. So where else will we go and get such an opportunity? I mean, this is just a situation of the Lone Star, and I know many Liberians out there frustrated. But one of the things we can say to you on this platform is that in spite of your frustration, in spite of how you feel, it is always important to continue trusting. Continue trusting the process. There will come a time that this Lone Star will cry upon, we will laugh with them. So it is important that I know many of you are frustrated. Yesterday after the game, I had a time to speak with about 2, 3, up to 5 Liberians or more, and most of them will tell you that I won't have the time again. I lost the taste, the appetite, the interest, in coming to witness any game for the Lone Star, especially playing on Samaka in the sports complex or playing home. And we still have time to encourage them, that this is not the right way to go. This is not the result we expect. We understand that. But again, it's always important to trust the process. Today, other countries you see around the world that are making progress, because at the time when they were fielding, their citizens, stood by them and supported them because they knew a time would come that they will rejoice. And that's exactly what we need to do with the Lone Star. We need to continuously, give our support, give our all, give everything to the Lone Star in spite of the results, are not favorable at the time, but we believe that some days we too will smile. We believe that some days we too will have a time that we say yes, we retrospect and say back then during the 2000s, there were lots of challenges we had with the Lone Star, of which we beef up our strength and we're working around our ways, and today this is where we are. And in football, that's for sure it happened. At times you want to build a team, from the initial stage, lots of challenges unfold. The current Premier League, the team that sits on top of the Premier League, Arsenal, right? Last season, some 1 or 2 seasons ago, Arsenal, one of the teams, the Euro top flights teams that performed dismally. Yeah, in all fairness, we call Spain. One of the things that performed dismally last season or previous seasons. And today Arsenal is making headways in the Barclays Premier League. You want to look at that and say, yeah, I believe the Lone Star can make similar, can write similar history, but it requires time, it requires support, it requires commitment, and continuously we support and encourage the boys. But after the game yesterday, up to present, what we continue to see on the social media from Liberians is not encouraging. We understand your frustration, but again, it doesn't give us the right. I mean, that's not being nationalistic. To take to the social media, a team we're trying to build and just treat them the way we continue to do.
I think there are a few things that we need to understand as a country, but what I saw on yesterday was a total and serious frustration, Harris. I think our boys need to man up enough in making sure that they do what they were called to do. If you look at the entire play on yesterday, there was no urgency. Harris, I felt very frustrated, and I think South Africa did not play anything extra, right? They didn't play anything extra, regardless of the big names you have on the team, Liberia, the thing, Oscar Dole. Yes, he was very impressive, and I think William Jebo just needed somebody that could support him, because you saw the whole field, the game, William Jebo had to come down almost in the defense of Liberia to collect football and carry. And at the end result, it was so disappointing that, it happened that way on yesterday. But I think our guys need to attach urgency with the play as well as the movement. Because the thing is, as a midfielder, and we don't want to shift blame, right? But Harris, you can be playing some kind of way, and like you on the field, you can feel like this thing's supposed to be happening, this thing's supposed to be. The midfielders are just relaxed. Where you're supposed to be aggressive, you're not aggressive, and at the end result, the decided to use counter. Look at the first goal. Look at the first goal.
Paco. Before we end on the discussion, there is one thing I want everyone to understand. I believe, and those are photo sports. We want to reconcile with me on the discussion that the South African national team had one strategy they employed, and throughout the game, what they played Liberia with is experience. That's what South Africa played with it yesterday, because they understood that playing away, right, there are a lot of disadvantages that unfold, especially in African football. Number one, defense. Number two, intimidation. Number three, all of these things play out. Though of them throughout the game, up to present, no intimidation from the Lone Star fans, which of course we must acknowledge the guys for their for their performance, their performance on yesterday. But what are we saying is that the South African national team understood all of these things. So what they employed is that they played the Lone Star of experience. Maintain the pressure, right? Build your defense, maintain the pressure from the center cycle, and as you play a lot, the more the Lone Star continue to play with the ball, that's the more they advance. And the more they advance, that defense follow. Now defense follow, once South Africa reconsolidate, they launch the counter attack and they get a goal, they relax. That's how they play Liberia. So throughout you see the Percy Tayu who played in South Africa was flying all around. You saw that he was maintaining just round the center cycle and played. You saw Foster, they kept the striker that scored 2 goals against Liberia in South Africa. They kept him on bench because they understood playing him and Tau on top. Perhaps the guy's going to be flying. The more they fly, the more when they fly, that's how they move. The midfield moves from them, and when they go together, the Liberia have the edge to advance. So what they did, they just had Tau on the top. They maintain the pressure from the center cycle, build that defense, and that's how they play Liberia. So you saw all two of the goals they got from a counter attack. They played on Liberia. The more the Liberia midfield moves, that's how the defense follow. When the defense follow, when South Africa reconsolidate, they launch their counter. Play simple.
It was a side day for us as Liberians, and it is what it is. Let's accept the result the way it is and move on as a country. Good morning, folks. Those of you watching would like to say good morning, welcome, and you can help share the live, invite somebody. Let's have conversation this morning on the issue. The U.S. ambassador made a very serious statement on yesterday, Harris, and we need to place serious emphasis on that. Liberians, all citizens in this country who are very concerned about our country's electoral process should be concerned. It is a matter of concern that we attach serious urgency to that particular statement made by the U.S. ambassador on yesterday. Okay, but let's just, like we promised that we would have done that to give you an update on the U.S. $1 million case, the $100 million worth of drug that was confiscated in Liberia some time ago. Like we said, the case, that particular trial kicked up some part of last month, the very first time they tried talking about that. The guys who were being held, they said, the foreign nationals, they said that they needed interpreters, someone who would come and interpret the entire thing, and then it was the court's responsibility to look for interpreter. So the state prosecutors indeed had to do it, and at the end result, the interpreters were brought forth. The case started, and on Monday the case resumed. And what we gathered so far is that it has taken another turn where the defense lawyers called on the judge in making sure that, because there was this evidence, they issued 2 different smartphones that were caught with the guys during the time of the entire, when they were arrested and the rest of it. So the defense lawyer is saying that that particular evidence that they had to display in open court is not constitutional. In fact, it is a clear violation to the right of the defendant. So they needed not to have done such thing. But again, that appeal was not granted, and in fact, the smartphone will be displayed in open court on a projector. But there are some things within that particular smartphone, or the 2 smartphones that the guys got hold of, in order to prove beyond that they can be indicted or they can be maybe held responsible as per the court's proceedings so far. So if that's the latest update, anytime for now, those forms will be displayed in open court. That whatsoever evidence within that particular form, indeed, it can be displayed as the trial goes on. So that's the latest update on the $100 million worth of drug case currently ongoing in Liberia. So we told you about the issue of the issue about the U.S. ambassador being replaced. Before we get to exactly some of the things he said on yesterday, the U.S. ambassador, President Joe Biden, indeed has nominated another ambassador to Liberia. Yeah, if confirmed, indeed, he will replace Mark McCarthy. And his successor is Mark Christopher Tono, a career member of the senior Foreign Service Class Minister Counselor. He currently serves as the Minister Counselor for Public Diplomacy at the U.S. Embassy in Paris, France. We'll give his record so far. He was the senior advisor at the Commission on Security and Cooperation in Europe and a senior faculty advisor at the National Defense University. Earlier, he held positions as the State Department's deputy spokesperson, acting spokesperson, and as a deputy assistant secretary in the State Department's Bureau of European Affairs. Yes, that's the newest man who is being nominated, Mark. And he has also served as a director of press operations in the Bureau of Public Affairs and Director of Press and Public Affairs in the Bureau of European Affairs. He was also spokesperson at the U.S. mission to NATO in Brussels, Belgium. Prior to joining the State Department, he served as a Peace Corps volunteer in Liberia, West Africa. So you see, he has an experience. You know, most of the times, like people in the government institutions, they will sometimes have the opportunity to be taught about Peace Corps. You know, they will come, like, for example, if you don't know their name, the white teachers that they can assign in the various schools, I was opportune to have sat on or two, you know, while in high school, biology and physics, and they were just up to the task and up to the point in teaching, you know, exactly what the materials they need. They need the materials in making sure. So this nominee has a record, has an experience of being a Peace Corps, and, you know, in Liberia. Yeah. So meaning he has an experience. He has been to Liberia before, and these are people who once you serve in these positions and you return to the States, and then they give you different position. They want to bring somebody who has had an experience with Liberia. So many people are concerned why this time around Michael McCarthy will be replaced if confirmed. You know, there are people who are concerned and the rest of it. And this entire thing about people serving as ambassador to Liberia, you know, his first representative to Liberia was in 1863. You know, where the representative Abraham Henson was appointed as the commissioner before he was a commissioner and consul general, and was upgraded to minister, and later in 1949 we moved over to having ambassador. Yeah, which is the relationship between the United States and the ambassador over the years and the rest of it. And the nominator who nominates ambassador to Liberia? The president. You know, the president is the nominator of the you know, ambassadors, and they appoint the president with the Senate advice, you know, consent. So the Senate have to advise the president, and the inaugural holder, like we said, as is Abraham Hanson as commissioner, consul general, formation from June 8, 1863. All right, so if that's it for you. But I think if this nominee takes over, Harris, Michael McCarthy will be remembered for being unapologetic on some of the policy statements he made against Liberia. On his watch as well, 3 government officials from the Global Magnitsky Act were being sanctioned, and they are referred to now as ex-government officials in the WEA regime. 2 senators as well, the legs of Vani Sherman for Grand Cape Mount, Prince Johnson as well from the Global Magnitsky Act, making the 5 government officials. And some of his statements, most especially the famous statement, what would Joseph Jenkins Robert says, and, you know, after so many years, and then the city of Monrovia is still, you know, is still in a state where people cannot get over it, and then he was bullied, but then again, he just remained clear on some of the things he said in Liberia about corruption. He was very robust. He has been very robust in the fight against corruption. And this is America's fight in Liberia. Mind you, doing the launch of the bicentennial, you had representatives from the United States, Harris. They were key on issues about corruption in Liberia.
Yeah, and over time, the U.S. has been very strong on that. And if Macaulay will not be remembered in history of Liberia for anything, but he will be remembered for his stance against corruption in Liberia. If you follow all of the times he had a chance to speak in Liberia, at the end of some lines in his speech were carried, reminding Liberia about corruption and to what extent corruption is damaging the country. And so from one point to another, you will understand that the U.S. at the time of the president, it has stand firm against the waves of corruption in Liberia. That's why she continued to invest highly in the ways in which Liberia can fight corruption. Remember, some fortnight ago, you had some experts, anti-corruption experts, came to Liberia. Two of them, right? They came to Liberia. It's based on how the USC, the corrupt practices continue to prevail in government, outside of government, and across the country as a whole. So McCarthy has been very, very much vocal on that. I can remember on lots of occasions I've had a time to listen to his speeches, and you will sense that he continued to re-emphasize the U.S. position towards the acts of corruption in Liberia. And this is a subject that we can mention our words on when we want to speak about corruption in Liberia. We understand to what extent that corruption is affecting today. There are lots of reports on Liberia that speak to corrupt practices, and evidence by the Global Magnitsky Act that sanctioned government officials and even legislatures on their on their involvement into corrupt practices in this country. It tells to what extent people, those that have been given the opportunity by the president to serve and contribute to the governance process of our country, is taking away what should be given to you Liberians. That's why even during the bicentennial celebration, you listen to the U.S. representative highlighted that strongly that Liberia, the U.S. cannot fight corruption in Liberia. It is Liberians that must take upon their time, must challenge themselves to fight corruption. But again, everything will call on the U.S. government. We'll look up to the U.S. government for support. We want the U.S. government. That's why their ambassadors, their various officials that have been sent to Liberia, they will come with a mandate that the U.S. continue to see the waves of corruption in Liberia.
And you also followed the issue of they have settled in Margibi. The Ministry of Health, the people were doing some follow-up on their project, and people, I mean, sometimes I wonder how people I like, most especially Liberians, the way they think, the way they handle affairs of the state, something that is not meant to be eaten. You see one person taking it, and then, the rest of it. So McCarthy, as per the report from the White House, President Joe Biden has nominated another person to serve as ambassador, if confirmed, as a matter of fact. But let's get to exactly some of the things we're talking about in Liberia that we as citizens that we need to be very, very serious about as it relates to the running of this country. Fellow Liberians, the October 10, 2023 elections, it is very crucial. And we as citizens of this country cannot just afford to see the number of years we've gone without war and coming in, as a country, that the issue of election will make us to have misunderstanding. We know how election violence in our country can be. But this is one thing we need to know. This thing, it is not about whether people will favor you or people will not favor you. The National Election Commission Chair, Devietta Brown Lassana, is still on play. She is still on play, and she doesn't want to speak out on the real issue. What are the real issues? One of the main issues at the National Elections Commission is the issue of funding, Harris. Devietta Brown Lassana appeared before the Liberian Senate, and she confirmed that the money the National Elections Commission requested for to conduct the October 10, 2023 elections,
and all the processes leading to the election.
And all the processes leading to the conduct of the elections, that money hasn't been released by the government through the Ministry of Finance. 91 million, I'm told, was being requested for by the commission to conduct the October 10, 2023 elections without any obstacle. But they were interested to note that since that budget was submitted to the Ministry of Finance, that supersedes everything when it comes to finance purposes in Liberia, was key at a certain point in time when Madam Lassana informed us again at the Liberian Senate is that budget, the proposed budget, was being reduced the very first time, the second time, up to the third, having 33 million as a budget to conduct the 2023 general elections in Liberia. This is where we are, folks. And as part of that, the shift into the budget, we've gone the third quarter. We're into the third quarter of the budget. And at the end of what we're seeing now, even the installment in which the finance ministry would have provided the budget is now being seen. And that's why the commissioner spoke the last time and people decided not to take it serious, and then they did not amplify. Sometimes when these things are said, people who are in the governance space think that it is intended to undermine the regime, or the regime is not heeding to the call of the National Elections Commission. But again, this is a national concern, that regardless of our side, our political belief and the rest of it, the National Elections Commission should be prioritized. Oh yes, because it is not about political party. It is about the collective interest of Liberia and Liberians going to the pool, that they will exercise their political right without any obstacle.
And you cannot run a successful electoral process without funding. Elections across the world, election is very expensive. And this is one of the areas, Parker, that baffles me, right? The government of Liberia at this time, especially through the Ministry of Finance, should understand that for the elections to go on smoothly and as the way everyone expects, is the National Elections Commission should be fully funded. The National Elections Commission must be fully funded. Any attempt for the National Elections Commission to suffer some barriers as it relates to funding, it hinders the election process. And when the election process is being hindered, what happens is that there are a lot of irregularities that will unfold. And these irregularities will lead to people not trusting election results. And when people are not trusting election results, what they tend to? That they tend to be violent. And when it leads to violence, obviously it threatens the peace. These are the trends that will unfold if the Election Commission remains unfunded as we speak. You cannot come and say you will disburse the 31 million or 23 million into three phases, and up to this time, the Elections Commission is yet to receive the fundings as the way they should have. This is actually not good for our election process. The Election Commission proposed a budget of 91 million. You said 91 million was so big, 91 million was an amount that you couldn't afford at the time. And so that's how you brought it up until cut the budget down to 31 million. With an understanding that you were going to provide this money into three phases. Now, Liberians, one of the reasons why we take key interest in this discussion is that we understand there are a lot of activities and a lot of dissatisfactions leading to the elections as we speak. Currently, from both sides, people are claiming that the Elections Commission should be doing this, should be doing that, and there are a lot of dissatisfactions as we speak. So when these things continue to prevail up until the election time, trust me, the process won't go well for us as Liberians.
And we'll give you reasons why the election, the evidence of some of the things we're saying, that yes, as a result of the National Elections Commission being underfunded. That's why we're experiencing what we're experiencing in this voter registration exercise that has commenced. Look, we will tell you, right? But we're saying this because it is important for us as a country. And like I said, it is not about which party you're from. It is about the conduct of an election, that we will maintain the peace or not. Because election violence in this country, it threatens the peace of the country. It threatens the peace of the country. If someone feels cheated, like the National Elections Commission, moving by and people doing how would even the National Elections Commission talk when the people that are even funded they're thinking about, and then they want to find people in the rest of it. But let's give you what David Etta Brown Lasana said when she appeared before the Liberian Senate this gone time. This is worrisome. This is worrisome, fellow Liberians. And we will tell you exactly the reasons why we say the Election Commission is underfunded. And this is why we're telling all of us as Liberians, those who are connected to the government and the rest of it, to do the needful. Listen to David Etta Brown Lasana.
Had submitted a budget of 91 million, which was reduced somewhere around 83 in terms of discussions and negotiations. It was further reduced to 73. It came down to 61. Then it went to 1. So the allotment to the commission now is 33 million for elections. And we were asked to put this amount into phases. Phase 1, 10 million. Phase 2, 10 million. Phase 3, 13 million, with the corresponding dates: March 15 for 10 million, April 16 for another 10 million, and May 15 for the 13 million. Up to date, we were informed that some 4 million would have been processed. Up to date, there is no funding to the elections as we speak. The commission has
Listen to David Etta Brown Lasana from 91 million all the way. This is where we are. Listen to David Etta Brown Lasana talking about the election and the entire budget. Listen to her.
The commission had submitted a budget of 91 million, which was reduced somewhere around 83 in terms of discussions and negotiations. 3 in terms
from 91 million, Harris.
Up to 21 million.
From 91, it was reduced to 8. This is a listen to David Etta Brown Lasana.
Budget of 91 million, which was reduced somewhere around 83.
From 91 to 83. Let's go for 83 to what?
In terms of discussions and negotiations, it was further reduced to 73.
91, 83, 73.
It came down to 61. Then it
For 83, it came to 61.
21. So the allotment to the commission now is 33.
So you see, what did we tell you people? We said the National Elections Commission proposed a budget of 91 million as the total budget to conduct the general elections, the October 10 elections and the rest of it. But again, it came down to 83 to 73 to 63 to 63. The appropriation from the government through the Ministry of Finance came out to 33, from 93 straight to 33. And they talk about 3 installments, right? They talk about 3 installments. Listen to David Etta Brown Lasana.
Million for elections. And we were asked to put this amount into phases. Phase 1, 10 million. Phase 2, 10 million. Phase 3, 13 million. With the corresponding.
So it will be equal to what?
33.
33 million. 10, 10, 13. 33 million as per what the government said they can provide. But since the entire thing happened, the first 10 million is supposed to provide, they have lied.
Corresponding dates: March 15 for 10 million, April 16 for
March 15, they should provide what? 10 million. April 16, another 10 million.
another 10 million, and May 15.
May 15, 13 million. So what happened to the first 10 million? Today is March what?
Today is March 29.
29.
for the 13 million. Up to date, we were informed that some 4 million would have been processed. Up to date, there is no funding to the elections as we speak.
So you see, you down with the 131 at the time she appeared before the Liberian Senate Harris. So March 15 is okay, 10 million. But almost 4 million was being processed.
In fact, what happened, March 15 falls on a holiday. So the excuse the finance minister gave was at the time was that it was on a holiday. So after the holiday, the 4 million she spoke about could be processed. So you said FF is going to get 10
million.
So the 10 million was intended to start a whole parliamentary voter registration exercise up until the second phase. But instead of the 10 million as the commission sets a budget to run the parliamentary, you bury it on the 4 million. And this is one of the reasons why you see in some center, you see whole center, get only one machine. Now, all the things in that plays out. Because when the Elections Commission could be funded, like the budget they proposed, could have been provided to them. Trust me, the process could have been even faster than the way it is. But one of the things Director Brandon to be very condescending about, she needs to be very smart about. She's not doing well for the government. She shouldn't think that by keeping silent and allowing the process, maybe fundamentals or take phone and call and say, oh, Director, we process anything, just hold on. It is your face before the commission. Anything that happens, Liberians will blame you.
Is it where we're singing song behind during Kokoya?
During Kokoya, right? We have it there. So anything that happens, Liberians will blame you. It will come a time that even if you want to explain to Liberians that the lack of funding was the reason the election went the way it was, Liberians won't listen to you. Liberians will feel that you were compromised. Liberians will feel that you were a regime collaborator and you bowed to the pressure of the government. That's why the election went the way it was. It is time that you speak. Speaking truth to power doesn't mean that you hate anybody. It's because you are there and you want the right things to be done. So if you sit and believe that maybe when you talk, then John will take you from the place, or maybe when you talk, then they'll move on there, sit down and shut your mouth and don't talk. And at the end, you will know what will happen. You have such a crucial process like the 2023 elections, where there are lots of interest arising and the process even be changed the way it is. Because number one, there's an increase in the population. So what that means is that the election process will even be more challenging than the way it was in 2017. You want to consider that. So you as a commissioner heading such a process, you should understand that everything that needs to be put in place should be in place.
And this is a practical example, fellow Liberians. One of the reasons why you see the National Elections Commission is conducting or started the voter registration, the biometric. Look, it is not about we doing biometric voter registration exercise or we're doing biometric. That's why you see the first 6 counties are being featured. No. It is as a result of their own availability of funds to the National Elections Commission. That's why you see the first 6 counties, Mosorado, Bomi, Grand Kitmount, Bapolu, Magibi, Grand Bassa, the first 6 counties are being targeted. It is not no system. It is because the materials that the guys have, it cannot just be able to control the whole country. You got 15 counties in Liberia, 73 different districts, right? So as a result of the unavailability of funding to the National Elections Commission, like David Etta Brown Lasana is crying about, that she doesn't want to talk. Since she appeared before the Liberian Senate and made this revelation, she had just kept quiet and thinking that because she's occupying a position that one day President we are going to take off from there, or she will be bullied, or officials from the CDC will say she's talking too much, and in fact she is now fit to lead a process, or she is siding with the opposition. This time around, it is not about siding with the opposition. It is about saving your face in the institution you represent. It is about saving Liberia. It is about saving Liberia. We'll talk about irregularities doing electoral processes in our country. It is because sometimes the commission herself cannot be prepared. And that's why you see this biometric voter thing, the registration exercise started in just 6 counties, because after the first 6 counties, The materials they're using, they have to move those materials to the remaining counties, places that bomb, Nimba, Grenku, River Cess, River G, Sino, and the rest of the remaining counties. So you see, because they don't have the required fund, that's why you see, Nana no star, no one thing say, oh, the other one screens this time around. Nana no star. Let us pay. The National Elections Commission does not have money to be able to feed the process across the country. By right, the voter registration exercise should have started across the country in 6 counties. But they're doing this because they don't have funds. They are doing this because they don't have funds to maintain the process that the materials are not enough already, Harris. Mm-hmm. The materials are not enough. So they may using one computer that even got no strong internet system. After they finish with the other phase, they may move the same materials that they're using in Moserado, Grand Bassa, Bombing, Bapulu, Grand Kitmount, and Margibi and the rest of the areas, to carry to the remaining counties. That's how the National Elections Commission decided to do the process because of the lack of funding. But let's listen to Malcolm McCarthy.
So you see, Paco, before you take Malcolm McCarthy, you see the stress the National Elections Commission is going through to take the equipment to Maryland County. Imagine what is happening because the guys, there are other ways in which you can use to get to the eastern part of Liberia, right?
Easy.
But the National Commission don't have money to use the chapel, or how you call them, that people use to get to the part of Liberia. So they'll have to use by road. So imagine before they really had a computer on us.
But let's listen to U.S. Ambassador Malcolm McCarthy. What he said, he's urging. This thing is serious, and every Liberian, those of you listening and following as well, it is important that we treat this particular matter with urgency. We need to treat this matter with urgency. And Ambassador McCarthy is warning this time around. He is warning this time around that it is not healthy. It is not healthy. Let's listen to him. Listen to him. And
I'm encouraged by President Weah's statements, including at the UN General Assembly, in front of the world, pledging a free and fair election. Liberia's international partners share this goal, but we believe, as with integrity institutions, it cannot be achieved unless the National Elections Commission is fully funded. Today, with 1/4 of the calendar year already behind us, the NEC has yet to receive any of its 2023 funding, as far as I know, even though we're less than 7 months away from election. This is a situation that should alarm every Liberian. Today, I'm urging that the Ministry of Finance and Development Planning immediately provide the Elections Commission with its full 2023 budget so that it has the necessary resources to effectively prepare for and implement all aspects of the electoral process. I'm encouraged by President Weah's statements, including at the UN General Assembly, in front of the world, pledging a free and fair election. Liberia's international partners share this goal, but we believe, as with integrity institutions, it cannot be achieved unless the National Elections Commission is fully funded. Today, with 1/4 of the calendar year already behind us, the NEC has yet to receive any of its 2023 funding, as far as I know, even though we're less than 7 months away from election. This is a situation that should alarm every Liberian. Today, I'm urging that the Ministry of Finance and Development Planning immediately provide the Elections Commission with its full 2023 budget so that it has the necessary resources to effectively prepare for and implement all aspects of the electoral process. I'm encouraged by President Weah's statements, including at the UN General Assembly, in front of the world, pledging a free and fair election. Liberia's international partners share this goal, but we believe, as with integrity institutions, It cannot be achieved unless the National Elections Commission is fully funded. Today, with 1/4 of the calendar year already behind us, the NEC has yet to receive any of its 2023 funding, as far as I know, even though we're less than 7 months away from election. This is a situation that should alarm every Liberian.
So you listen to the U.S. ambassador. This situation is alarming, and it should claim the attention of all Liberians. And what wrongs to man when diplomats, coming in and coming in the open, in the public, to say these things, it tells that probably they might have made some, intervention, but again, from the angle of the government, they are not seeing that type of commitment. Is that commitment, that the government should go with into the electoral process? Harris, this is serious. This is serious that he is also. It is not about the attachment from the U.S. ambassador, but it's about us. It is about us. Aside from you talking about budgetary allocation, the National Elections Commission is also suffering from property owners and the rest of it. Oh yes, they're also suffering from property owners because.
They're even suffering for staff. The staff they have
but auto press.
It's very little.
Those who are carrying on this voter registration exercise money in inside contract.
Yeah, and just to mention, you want to speak about the civic and voter education exercise they launched. Even those various organizations they are working with that are implementing those projects is also a challenge. Those folks, at first, before they started biometric voter registration, they launched the CVE, the civil voter registration exercise. So these guys are going to various communities to educate people about the biometric process and how it works for everyone. Remember, I want to challenge you that most of you haven't seen those individuals around in your communities, because the thing about it is that you took control of these individuals, that you're going to provide the money to their organization and help empower them. To date, most of those organizations, they haven't even received a dime. So because the Election Commission has just received, if they have received, just 4 million. So if they receive 4 million or the process for 10 million to start a budget, so is like 40% of the total budget they should be receiving. So then what happened is that they needed to go in the various communities and need different things. You see, electoral process is very expensive. And this is where sometimes you are in opposition before coming to the ruling area. This is one of the things to frame against, right? That the election commission needs to be straight. For an election commission to be straightforward, you need to empower them. They need to be empowered. Because there are a lot of processes categorizing electoral activities. But you want to sit and nothing is being done, and up to this time you have the diplomatic partners coming in, and that statement just from the U.S. ambassador. I think the last time during the launch of the CVE again, the European Union ambassador also emphasized on the need for the election commission to be funded. The ECOWAS ambassador, that's not ECOWAS, but the UN resident coordinator, Madam Umutuni, again, emphasized on that as well. That there is a need the election commission receive all of its fundings, because it is very dangerous. We continue to remind ourselves that it's dangerous. The path we are heading towards the electoral process, I think the Bride Nassau need to come out of her partisan shirt as she is a partisan of any political party. She need to come out and stand in the interest of Liberia. This is work for us.
There are people across the country, since the start of the voter registration exercise, the people areas that they're using, the commissioner has also confirmed that the people resisting them for using those areas.
Yeah, because you pay the
it is serving as a problem as well, and there are complaints all around the place. We're thinking as a whether Erie, as per the design, whether majority of the citizens will be registered across the first 6 counties that they started this process. It is not something that we can take lightly. Look, in this country, there can be no free and fair elections. It cannot be possible when the National Elections Commission is struggling, to get funding to conduct the exercise. Samuel Tue you need to release the people budget. You need to release the money. Minister of Finance, we're calling on you, Samuel Toe. You need to release the National Elections Commission money. We know for us, we don't want to say, okay, opposition should come on and the rest of the aid, right? And they come and say, oh, this, that, they sit there and know they're running with awareness on voter registration process. And the main thing that they're supposed to be speaking to, they're not speaking. We don't get time for them. But this particular issue, the issue about a free and fair election cannot be possible in the absence of funding. That's one of the things we need to know. That's one of the things you need to know. And then, Mr. President, we're also calling on you this morning. This particular process is a crucial process. Call your finance minister, Samuel Toe, to release the people money. There is no fund being allotted to the National Elections Commission as per the proposed budget. Look, the people said 93 million. 93 million from 93 straight to 33. The 33, you're supposed to get the first 10, 10, and 13. Auto press, the people are still drowning.
Yeah, you
What do you expect?
Even a 4 million set of give us a trouble.
What do you expect?
In working environment, what you do when people proposed they need certain budget, I'm saying when they propose a budget, what you do as an administrator, if you approve the budget, you give them the money to work with, and now you supervise and ensure that the money that you provided is being used for the purpose intended. This is how it's being done. So if the election commission tell you, say we need 10 million in the first phase, like you said, Paco, you're right. That one of the reasons why you see this thing, NEC kind of, which says in the history library was doing the whole thing about election building. When the last time you say voter registration will be phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, phase this, phase that, it's because they put on your money. They put on your money. So the first thing they're going to do it, phase 1 of the biometric, the first 10 million will go towards the first 4 counties, and the biometric stuff and things.
And what is that, April 16th?
Yeah, April 16th. And the first, just exactly in the time, so the first one should be, well, the first budget should have been allotted March 15th.
Mm-hmm.
The biometric photo registration started March 20th. Mm-hmm. So if I understand that when they received the first million, I'm saying the first
10 million, they would have,
10 million on March 15th.
They would have targeted the entire thing.
That was the calculation. A very burden one indeed. But the person phase 1, phase 2, phase 3 for registration process, where you don't see in the history library anytime since we've been doing election, even the 1927 election that were very fraudulent, the people not even do it that way. That now this one, this time is being done.
They bring that man.
It's because no money. No money. The money the person that want to do the election better. Your president and say, I'm saying your minister of finance say then get
the money too plenty.
The money too plenty.
93 million. The people say the money plenty. They brought it all the way to 33. The 33 now they can release it. What's that? So, Mr. President, we call you, please. You back in country. Call your finance minister the money. Call your finance minister this morning and ask him what is going on with the Liberian people money. Mr. President, call the finance minister. Ask him what is going on with the national elections proposed to fund. You need to do that. It is important that you do it. It is important that you do it. We're on this radio, 9 o'clock with John ELBC for a relay. The chairman of the LPDP will come on live. That is at 9 o'clock this morning. So at 9 o'clock, we leave our main studio, the Blue Studio, to join the Liberia Broadcasting System to bring you that special relay. So paid for anyways. So we here this morning is on Good Morning Liberia. Harris, I think we can take some calls on this matter.
Yeah, definitely. We take calls now. 0770 907 907 0880 907 907. Adding numbers to call. And you be part of the program this morning. Let's hear you 0770 907 907 0880 907 907. Adding numbers. We'll continue to make this, we'll continue to emphasize on this because we know to what extent it means for our democracy. Good morning.
Good morning, my brother. Let me say good morning to your many listeners. This is Bobby Abu Meska. I phoned this morning from the SD Copper Road District 6. Oh, my brother, let me appreciate you guys this morning for such a great analysis. No, listen, we know very well that our commission She is gross incompetent. We listen to grade 7 star. This is as what you understand. This is the first time in the history of the country for us to go through election. We'll be doing election until our cake will sharing. The other portion for the other person, the other portion for the other person. Because you know when you're doing wedding, after the wedding, you can share the cake. Why you doing national elections like this? It was wrong. So we know very well that the woman, she is completely novice to the job. She doesn't understand the job at all.
The thing is about money, my brother. The people are suppressing the woman.
Yeah, but she allow herself to be used. You see, when you allow yourself to be used politically, you allow politicians to drag you. Look at the money that was supposed to you. Even the money, they didn't even get all the money. You have to even ask for $4 million kind of carry on the election process and go and see the process that was very genius. Hey, whoever in Mozzarella County, we are sitting for some million people. You are that one computer to all. Go and see the land. Huge queue standing on the jail 21 days. No, like election. They put her up there and registration stuff. She has to under she has to increase down because we will not accept this short period of time. Many of our people have not yet registered when it goes down the line as long. We're calling on the Director Brand Lasana. The country is depending on her.
And thank you. We'll take more calls. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. Let's hear you.
Emma calling for Banansi.
Go ahead.
You know, my children, they'll take you for a topic on a discussion this morning. What all the brain needs to do, bring down anger and voting men or toward voting out. Because we tired with plenty mistake. We made plenty mistake. Thank you.
Thank you. That's how she thinks about it. 0770 907 907 0880 907 907. Adding numbers. Call us on these numbers, folks. And be part of the program. We'll take more of your calls. 0770 907 907 0880 907 907. Adding numbers. That could continue to tell you it is important we say this. Back up, please. We have a call from that end. Good morning.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning, let's hear you.
Good morning.
Good morning. Go ahead. Let's hear you.
Yeah, thank you. I'm Emmanuel M. Super Junior, and I call you guys this morning from the office of the intellectual class of the whole community. Well, let me appreciate you guys for your analysis. You know, I think the election commission has the responsibility, the statutory responsibility to conduct election in our country. And if there's an issue that they face with, whether internally or externally, the other brand Lasana should be able to muster the courage enough and focus these issues. But you cannot have, hundreds of people turn out in the numbers to register, and then the process is so delayed. It's delaying. Like yesterday, at most of the center, because I'm from district number 14, I've been visiting several police places in my area, and then those places were shut down. Like my police center in Basata, especially the Door Committee, the machine spoiled. There was no voter registration, so my people have to leave to go to other far areas to register, which of course is unacceptable or what to call the brand Lasana. The 3 weeks given to the people of Mozzarella County to register, and you shouldn't forget there are millions of people in Mozzarella County. This 3 weeks is not sufficient to register the people because taking into consideration the delinquency and I don't know how should I say it because I'm lack of words on the better terminology to use as the election commissioner, for which this unprecedented delay is caused in the registration of the people. But personally, I have to encourage, I have to appreciate President this voter registration card has been printed at about this time. It's the most valuable voter registration card.
So you're not so focused that the election commission has been underfunded, right? You can't be praising voter registration card fund yet.
Come again?
You're not concerned that the election commission is being underfunded.
I'm concerned. There's a reason why I started by saying the other brand Lasana should muster the courage enough as chairperson of the commission to allow these things. We have international donors. If you allow this issue, all the money is small, I cannot conduct the process, or government was coming to subsidize.
Okay, thanks for joining us.
You talk to this person. Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning. Thanks for joining us. The name where you called from.
This is Miracle you can calling from Lokita.
Let's hear you, Miracle.
Okay. My question this morning had to do with the game that was played yesterday.
No,
We're done with that game issue, man. Let's talk to something.
Good morning.
Hello?
Good morning.
Good morning. Let me say good morning to the family of us and the many listeners.
Go ahead.
My name is Roosevelt G. Pato, and I joined the conversation from Baghdad, talking to the sisters district texting. Let me appreciate you guys for flexing the issues of religion concerns. I think that is very much cardinal, and we all need to see how best we can call on our president to call on the final minister to disperse the fund to the election commissioner so that they can carry the operation, carry on our operation smoothly. Because in this time of era, it's very important that the necessary materials and funding that is needed for the commissioners to operate be given so that we can have a free, fair, and transparent election. That is nothing about opposition or imposition. I stand with my word and my situation, but looking at the situation, really, I'm not really going on with it as well. So the president must be able to call on his final minister. Thank you, and let me say thank you guys for the discussion.
Thanks so kindly. Okay.
0770907907088 09079079079. Not in them. So take more of a calls. Like you said, coming at 9 o'clock, we bring you a relay, right? A relay to the V from State Radio, ERBC at 9 o'clock. Until then, we'll take more of a calls on this discussion. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. Let's say you.
My name is T. Momo Masakwe, and I'm calling from down Rana Street, Trenchtown, in district number 7.
Okay.
Let me say thank you for affording me. And as big brother, our country now is about to test if democracy comes October 10th. I think all of the process leading to testing this democracy is something that we need to pay key attention to, because we do not want to have a fail mark during the period of our test. So it is prudent enough that the government allots the necessary funding so as to get our process going on smoothly. And let me also draw my attention to another issue that I witnessed yesterday at a voter registration center at Worldwide Mission on Nipo Street, where a Liberian citizen went to register and an immigration officer asked him few questions, including his name and his dwelling place. And she also asked whether he had citizen ID card, and he did present a citizen ID card to her. And the immigration officer said the guy needed to bring his own voter registration card in order to qualify him to get registered. Something that sparked a serious tension at the center on yesterday, and the guy was later on denied from registering at that particular time. I think that was very wrong, and I choose to say this morning.
They say he's not a Liberian?
Yes, he asked whether he was a Liberian. He said yes. Where he lives, he showed the place. They asked for citizen card, he presented it. The immigration officer said the guy needed to bring his own voter registration card in order to confirm whether he has been participating in the Liberian process. And I think that was wrong.
We will visit that center. Thanks for providing us. You said Nipo Street, right? Worldwide, right?
Worldwide Mission.
Okay, we will visit that center. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Okay, so we'll talk to this person right here. Good morning. Good morning. Let's talk to this person. Good morning. 077090790708809079007 are the numbers, and you will be live on Good Morning Liberia. We're talking to this issue. This person on the line. Good morning. Let's hear you. What's your name?
Yeah, Simeon Gabriel Tabu Guinness, my name, and I've joined this platform on district number 12.
12. Let's hear you, Simeon.
Some of us, we are in the constant habit of encouraging most especially the first-time voters to carry on and know the SC side. But it's so kind of frustrating that when the people even go to the police center, there is no proper way to even enter. That's number one. Number two, if seeing the person muscle that way to enter, the people that got behind the machine don't even know the machine. If they never press O It will take 6 minutes to find E. It will take 7 minutes to find L. All of that contributing to the downfall of the process. So election commission needs to do something about that. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Simeon. He said when the guy press O, the guy is very interesting.
When you press E.
Yeah, it's laughable and serious. This is Good Morning Liberia, folks. 5 minutes to go. 5 minutes time, we'll call it a day. We're here this morning up to 9 o'clock. We join ELBC for a special relay. We told that the chairman for the LPDP, one of the constituent political parties within the coalition, will appear live. Okay, so we'll take calls here. 0770, take 1 or 2 and call it a day on this segment of the show on today. 0770-907-907. Good morning, let's hear you. You should be our last caller. Good morning, let's hear you.
Yeah, my name is Hugh Kevin Sergey, speaking from the office of Allah in Narab.
Let's hear you, brother.
Yeah, thank you this morning for the topic on the discussion this morning. I'm going to give this voice of the nation more.
He's out. He's out. He's out. Okay, so we got to go on this edition of the show, but I think we got a call right here.
Yeah, it's Chris.
Good morning.
Morning.
Let's hear you. You live. What's your name?
My name is Jones too, and I join you from a comfort zone, Prophet G4.
Okay, go ahead. Let's hear you.
Yeah, my attention has been drawn to the National Election Commission form. I'm asking Samuel 12 Finance Minister to leave the Liberian people money. Maybe it's a tricks that they are playing, but let them release our money. This will determine our demographic this particular election. Thank you.
Okay. Thanks for joining us. We're still right here. Hope we can join the Liberia broadcasting system as soon as the show starts. Good morning. I have a caller on the line.
Oh my God. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. Let's hear you.
Yeah, let me say good morning to the voice of Liberia family. My name is Arvin Daniel, and I call from the UN draft. Let me appreciate you guys this morning for the talking points, and also let me appreciate the Almighty God for pumping breath into us, our voice to be heard this morning. My brother, when it comes to the election commission or what the outgoing ambassadors said yesterday, it is true. I think the president has to immediately call upon the finance minister to make that money available so the election commission can speed the job up. Of course, it could be that because of due to the money, all the kind of ticketing within the IGO registration in fact or positive in the registration because once you will not satisfied in certain organization, you will see that data set will be placed on delay so at least certain thing has sparked so the information can come off. So I think the House of Senate should summon or Mr. Toya, so Mr. Toya can get that deliver money to the election commission so the election commission can do her job. Because they have to pay all the people that do the job. Can't tell me say you big money to give somebody then you hold on to the money for what reason? If there's reason then let the call the message and make it fair to Liberian people.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. The mayor point 0770907907907 0880907 I think the guys are setting up.
So we'll call it a day with this caller. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning.
Good morning. Let's hear you. You should be our last caller.
Thank
on
you.
the show.
My name is Nasaran Thomas Sankara, and I do join you from Brush Street.
Let's hear you last.
Yeah, for the issue coming from the next box, I think the issue about the budget for NEC was budgeted in our national budget, and the budget just passed. And I believe that the finance minister is working on modality to solve that issue, and the election will go on peaceful. Secondly, to the registration, they have an online process, and that is the fastest way of registering. And we believe that the people at the center are very slow. You can easily do your process on your phone and go there. They will scan it in less than 5 minutes. You get your card done. Instead of you waiting on long line to have another process, just go on Google, write in
Okay, my brother.
let
Thanks for
yes,
joining us.
and continue the
Thank you.
process that way. Thank you.
Okay, so we gotta go. We gotta go. Hopefully, so like we said, we will join the Liberia broadcasting system any moment from now to bring you the special relay. And many thanks to all of our viewers: Emmett Hammond, Peters, Kevin, Friday, Papi Keita, Kojo Furniture Works from Ghana, Dos Santos Cooper Jr., Obadiah Otis Jr., Jackson, Mami, Amara, Melvin, the rest of the guys for joining us. It has really been a great time being on the show. So it is important, like we said, the National Elections Commission requested, 91 million. Again, that money was reduced, and we're calling on the Ministry of Finance and Development planning to do the honorable thing by releasing the funding, the funds appropriated to the National Elections Commission to enable them conduct this particular exercise. It is important that you do it. Yes, it is important that for the safety of the protection of the peace and the rest of other things, because we're saying that in the absence of funding, the issue of free and fair elections cannot be experienced. So it is our responsibility as citizens of this country to do or call on those responsible to do the needful. This is Good Morning Liberia Hazards. We're going to take a break right here. My name is April and Parker. Harris Wade been around as well. So we'll take a break right here from Telecel Liberia. If Telecel Liberia is the best internet service provider in Liberia, right on Tear Street, their office is there, move there. And at the end result, you can, take their internet service at your homes, job site, and the rest of the areas. Enjoy real internet service. So then, we'll go for this break.
Are you tired with slow internet? Do you want super fast and affordable internet? Telecel Liberia is here to provide all your internet service needs.